Okay, so welcome back to the first episode of 2025. I hope everyone had an eventful Christmas and Happy New Year. I was ill over mine, so mine wasn't so eventful. So the first video of the year, I completely forgot about this album, and it's not a band that I've done a video on before, but I absolutely adore this band. And the album I'm going to be talking about is, the band is obviously, of course, the godlike The Smiths. And the album we talk about is The Queen is Dead. Okay, and I don't know why I've missed doing the Smiths before, because I'm a huge fan of this band. Just incredible band. So The Queen is Dead is the third album from The Smiths, and it was released on the 16th of June in 1986, a long time ago, on Rough Trade Records. The album itself was produced by the singer Morrissey and Johnny Marr, working predominantly with engineer Stephen Street, who engineered the Smiths' previous album, Meet His Murder. So Marr also wrote several songs with the Smiths while they toured the UK in 1985, working out arrangements with bassist Andy Rourke and drummer Mike Joyce. And I've got to say, when people talk about the Smiths, they always forget about Mike Joyce and Andy Rourke, who were kind of, instrumental in really kind of creating the sound of the Smiths. Yes, Morrissey was a great lyricist, unique vocals, but don't forget about the rest of the band, because the stars aligned with all of these played together. So I'm going to mention them a few times in this video, and I think they deserve it. The album title itself came from American writer Hubert Selby Jr.'s 1964 novel, Last Exit to Brooklyn, The Queen is Dead. The artwork, I was always intrigued by the artwork, because obviously when this came out we had no things like internet. They didn't really talk about the artwork, where it came from. But the cover art features the French actor Alain Delon in the 1964 film Le Soumis. I assume I'm not French, so if I pronounce that wrong, I'm really sorry. The album itself spent 22 weeks on the UK album charts, reaching number 2, which is quite a surprise, because at this time they were just, incredible. A new album from the Smiths, a new Morrissey record. It was just incredible. So I'm really surprised. I mean, I should have found out what was at number 1, what kept him off the number 1 spot, because this should have been a number 1. Certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America in late 1990. Also, the album received widespread critical acclaim, and is ranked 113th on the 2020 updated list of 500 albums of all time. Brilliant. There's some interesting albums on that 500 list. Maybe we'll do a video on that at some point, over maybe 4 episodes. We'll kind of break it down, the albums of the top 500, and maybe pick out a few that we can do episodes on. The time they were recording this, I do remember seeing like loads of press that it's a very difficult time. They're having a difficult time with Rough Trade Records at the time they were recording this. And I remember reading a couple of interviews saying that when they were recording it, the atmosphere was great. They were vibing, they were getting on. Because obviously since then we know that they hated each other, really, I suppose. And they've never really got back together. I know Morris is still doing stuff, but Johnny Marr's still not in the picture. The first song to be recorded from this album is in July 1985, was The Boy with a Thorn in His Side. The recording, made with engineer Stephen Street at a small studio in Manchester, and initially intended as a demo, was considered by the band to be good enough for release as a single. And it was released in September 1985, and made number 23 in the UK's album charts, which is quite low for the Smiths, really. And I keep forgetting how early the Smiths stuff was out in 1985. I mean, Hand in Glove was like 84. I keep forgetting. I always imagine them as like a 90s band. I don't know why. But they've been around a long time, this band. They've also released a couple of other singles from here. They released Big Mouth Strikes Again, which is a great track. And Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others. Both recorded at Rack Studios in London. A couple of B-sides, A Boy with a Thorn in the Side, Asleep, Rubber Ring. This is something I didn't know. Initially, Kirsty MacColl sang the backing vocal on Big Mouth Strikes Again, but Johnny Marr thought it sounded a bit weird, so they didn't use it. I've never heard that version. I'd love to hear that version. So instead, they got Morrissey to do the backing vocals, to sped his vocals up. So if you listen to that little sped up vocal in the background is actually Morrissey. I think I probably would have preferred Kirsty MacColl than a sped up Morrissey, to be honest. They also asked Linda McCartney to do piano on one of the tracks. I'm not sure which track it was, but she declined. Again, a shame. What an inspiration to have, like Linda McCartney playing piano on one of your tracks. I would have done it, easy. Come on, Linda McCartney, you're on a Smiths record. Maybe they're big enough at the time, or maybe she could be bothered. I don't know, but what a miss! What a miss for us listeners. There was one record that was recorded as Never Had One Ever. Never Had No One Ever. So I always get kind of mixed up with this. And it had a false start. Have you ever listened to that track? When you play it, it's got a really false start on it. And you'll understand. Go and pick the album out, listen to that track again. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say there's like a false start to that song. Which is Never Had No One Ever on the album. The tracks on this album, you've got The Queen Is Dead. I'm going to talk about that in a second because they used sampling on that record, which I didn't know until I did kind of research on this. Frankly, Mr. Shankly, I Know It's Over, Never Had No One Ever, Cemetery Gates. Oh, I love that song so much. Big Mouth Strikes Again, The Boy with a Thorn in His Side, Vicar in a Tutu. There Is a Light That Never Goes Out, Some Girls Are Bigger Than... I almost feel like all of these got played so much that they were all singles. And I know all of these tracks, not just by listening to the album, but everyone was playing them. When we used to go to like the indie clubs, everyone was playing this. And I've got to say, there's no one like Morrissey when it comes to like lyrics, subjects, song titles, artwork. And the other thing I kind of inspired by as well is the fact that he still uses that slogan, meat is murder, and truly believes that, which is great. And he's hammered on, I'm sure he's saved millions of animals' lives over the years where fans have become vegan or vegetarian because of Morrissey. And he's never hidden the fact. And he's always been the first to call people out. And he's true to his vegan and vegetarian. And he's, over the years, I've heard loads of stories of falling out with people, never talking to them again. Things like when they do their gigs, like no meats to be sold in the place. And that wasn't a myth. And I think, yeah, good for you. Good for you. Sticking by what you believe in. And he's still doing that now, which is great. Morrissey, we love you. The artwork itself is great. I love where we've got the green and the pink. I always call this punk pink. Like the pink from the Sex Pistols album. But when you open it up, it's a nice big gatefold. Nice picture of the Smiths outside the Salford Lads Club, which has become famous because of this photo shoot. And when you go on Facebook now, you still see people getting photos taken in front of the Salford's Sports Club. I was going to talk about The Queen Is Dead, the lyrics here as well. As I said, it preceded by a single. The Queen Is Dead was released. When they were recording the actual song, The Queen Is Dead, it was ruined by a technical glitch on the tape. And so the song was completely recorded. So somewhere there's a version of The Queen Is Dead, the song, that no one's ever heard. And also they used, on one of the songs, the first time they ever used a drum machine, or a sampler, where they've got a tom-tom loop. I was trying to find out what track that was on, but I just cannot find it. But one of the tracks on here, really distinctive, tom-tom loop sampling. And it's the first time I ever used or heard the Smiths sampling as well. You've got all the kind of lyrics here, and again, read his lyrics. They're crazy. They shouldn't work, but they do, and I think it's to do with the tone of his voice and subject matter, and it just works. And whoever kind of put together the track order, because obviously one of the most important bits as an artist myself, when we released our album, when we released our last album, it probably took us about 4 weeks to get that right track flow. One flowing into the other. It's got a start, it's got an end, it's got a middle, it's got a high point, it's got a low point. And trying to get that nice kind of, you've heard it before, a bit cliche journey is what you're trying to do with it. So if you listen to it as entirety, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of bands, a lot of 80s bands now are touring and doing their albums in their entirety and the original track order, because they would spend a long time, especially the engineers, listening to these tracks, get the order correct. So if you do listen to any Smiths album, listen to it in the right order, and somehow everyone will pick out a narrative, and it's different for everyone. Do it, listen to it, and you'll come up with your own little narrative of what the album's about and what the tracks are about, and the whole picture for the album. The inside sleeve, Great. You've got I don't know where the pictures come from, but it's great. Another, again, you see a lot of old pictures. Cover star Alain Delon. The Smiths are letter I Andy Rourke, Morrissey, Johnny Marr, and Mike Joyce. It just gives you kind of credits for the record itself. The other side, same thing without the credits. The vinyl itself, again, you've got the green and just the credits on it. Now this is the reissue, because I did have the original, but I had a flood and my covers all stuck and kind of ripped as I kind of separated them. So I did buy the reissue. I'm not really sure what year this was. It wasn't that long ago actually, but I know they did do a reissue in 2017. This says 1986 on it, but it is definitely a reissue. It's not the original. But yeah, so that is our first album of the new year, and it is The Smiths, The Queen Is Dead. Released so long ago now, but what an incredible album. If you don't know any Smith stuff, just go check this out. And guaranteed if you do, you'll find the older stuff of the Smiths. And we will do more Smiths videos in the future, because I think it's a band that kind of deserves it. And their records are so iconic, so kind of legendary. And it's another band, you may not know the songs or song titles, but you've heard them before, and this is one of them albums. Okay, if you don't know, check it out. Queen is Dead, Smiths. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.